Connie Willis, the podcast. Taking you into new ways of thinking, even providing answers to questions you've often pondered. Connie Willis, the podcast. This is a Connie Willis exclusive. Whistleblower. What you're about to hear has never been heard anywhere else. This is Connie Willis, the podcast.
Connie Willis back with the private military, government contractor, and U.S. Navy Special Warfare veteran, Robert Treat, whistleblower, informant, as well as deathbed confession. However, he's got a chance to make it through. Go to the GoFundMe. That is in the description. Take a look, see where you can help.
Informant.
Is that why we're different colors and different?
Yes, yeah. We're made from different things. In each race, each being that came down here, this was their garden. This was their playground for a very long time. And they created man to be a servile race.
Just the grays? The grays are mantids?
Well, the mantids,
Okay.
the mantids, the Primarchs. And there were the other races, which I don't really know what their official names were, but the images of what they call like the Bulgarans are very accurate images. That's really what they look like. Whether they come from the Pleiades, which I don't really believe, especially when I asked other questions. I was a very precocious child of a very scientific nature, like the nature of stars. When I learned about black holes, I wanted to know about those, and I could ask these questions, and they would give me answers. So when I hear things now, like about stargates and this and that, I'm like, you couldn't be more wrong. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to tell the story and to clear up some of the things that are very misinterpreted and outright distortions and, dare I say, lies. Especially when it comes to things like stargates. That's one of my pet peeves.
I'm looking forward to getting those answers. But currently, this was their garden.
Yeah,
within it at the time, and we were all living together.
They created us. We were built to serve them. But there was a split, right? Some of the Greys, some of the Primarchs did not agree with the creation of mankind. That we were a destructive species, we're too animalistic, and we come from violent stock. And that's one thing that is not tolerated out in the universe is violence and war. None of these races are warlike, and we are. And this is what caused a split between what we call, the good aliens and the fallen ones. The fallen ones were dead opposed to mankind and wanted us exterminated right from the start. The Primarchs on the other side, thought we would be a blessing and a good thing. And this is why we're in a period of judgment. And that judgment is going to come to pass, soon. I hoped I would see it in my lifetime, but, I guess I might not. But the fallen ones, they hate humanity. And they have found alliances in other humans that also hate humanity. They don't think we're worth saving. But because they caused a war within their own species, they're barred from the Stargate. They don't travel to other worlds. They're not star travelers anymore. They're here. And they're stuck here. And they've made allegiances with others who are stuck here, which are the reptilians who were here long before us, and they inhabited all of the inner planets. Not Mercury, of course, but Venus, Earth, Mars, and the fifth planet, which is now gone. That's the remains of the asteroid belt. The asteroid belt's the remains of the fifth planet when it was destroyed. That's the result of the war they had, and it'll never happen again. When these creatures go to war, it is absolute destruction, devastation. And that war between them devastated our solar system, devastated our planet. And I often speculated as that wasn't for the true cause of the extinction of the dinosaurs, although I never asked that question, therefore never got an answer to that. But, the reptilians, they came here and they'd inhabited all of the inner planets when the Greys arrived. And following the war between the Greys and the ones that remain here, they allied themselves, because they were cut off from the Stargates, that they allied themselves with the reptilians and now certain groups of humans, which is where my career path led me, was to that group of humans.
To the group of humans that
work with the fallen Greys and the reptilians.
Before you head there, let me go back with good Greys and mantids go together. Bad Greys and reptilians go together. Is this, where does the Bible fit in with this? Would that be angels and the fallen angels?
Yeah, and that was the area I was reluctant to go into, is how the various scriptures really
please go into it.
Really fit into this, and so many of the scriptures. And as a child in Scotland, I didn't have TV. I had books, and the only books I had were the Encyclopedia Britannica, the whole set, and the Bible. So
you were the kid that read the entire encyclopedia.
I did, yes.
I knew it. How many times?
Oh, probably several, I'm sure.
Okay, I knew it. Okay.
But I would hear these stories. My parents were not religious at all, so I didn't go to church. But I would read things out of the Bible and hear other people talking about it. And when I would spend time with my Grey family, I would ask, hey, what about this? What about that? Like, I heard this.
This is a Connie Willis exclusive on Connie Willis, the podcast.
What we call God, and there is an ultimate being. I don't know who that is. I never got an explanation, although I did ask, but I was never given an answer. It was like one of those things you don't ask. Now, the closest thing to an archangel is what they, what in our terms would be called a Primarch, right? A Primarch is kind of like a god king. So these mantids, I call them the Primarchs. They're like the god kings. Everything serves them. The Archaons are kind of like the angels, and they have kind of a glimmer to them, right? And by glimmer, they can make you see them any way that they want you to see them. So if they want you to see them as a puppy, you're going to see a puppy. If they want you to see them as a winged angel, with a glowing halo, that's what you're going to see. They're going to portray themselves however they want you to see them. But all the stories of good and evil, vampires, werewolves, all of that comes from these things. Like the fallen, the reptilians, they are blood drinkers. And since the fallen Greys are cut off from their genetic replication, they've taken to that too.
Oh, so does that describe cattle mutilations and things like that?
Yeah, they take what they can get. And because the Greys are a clone species, right? They don't breed the same way that the creatures, the mammals on our planet do. They're a clone species. They're recreated vessel to vessel, and their consciousness is transferred from, as one vessel wears out, expires, their consciousness is transferred into a new vessel. And they have a continuity of knowledge that spans, thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of years. Who knew? I have no idea how old the Primarchs are.
Well, let me ask this. Isn't that kind of like us if there's there's reincarnation? I mean, we go into another vessel and vehicle.
Exactly.
But ours is kind of like we don't remember what happened before, where they would.
Oh, yeah, they remember, and we're capable of it. We just don't. And it's because of our nature. And there again is an alignment with, the Bible and other scriptures of, your spirit has to overcome the flesh. And when your spirit overcomes the flesh, you control things. And even like in the Bible, Jesus said, when the disciples asked him about all the miracles he did, he said, all of these things you've seen me do, you can do the same and greater, right? So even in the Bible, it says we can do these things. It's just we have a block, and there's a reason why we have that block. And that block is also the reason why they're so concerned about the future of us, because of their relationship in the universe, or the paraverse, right? We like to think in scientific terms that there's other dimensions and other realities, and they're like rooms that are adjacent to each other, when in fact they're all connected. They're all, it's like a pancake within a pancake within a pancake. It's not like there's other universes or other dimensions that are separate places. It's just we only have the physical capabilities to perceive a small slice of something that we exist within something much larger, right? That they've reached a stage of evolution where they perceive the totality, where we only perceive like 1%. But the longer our species exists and evolves, we will eventually attain the same level as them. And that level is, and the dangerous thing about humanity, and the reason they're so concerned, is because thought is energy. All matter is made of energy. Okay? So when they think something or they feel something, right, it's an instant manifestation.
Informant. What you just heard has never been heard anywhere else. This is Connie Willis, the podcast. Learn more about Connie, her guests, and be sure to join her private membership shows, Blue Rock Talk and Connie After Dark, at ConnieWillis.com. Whistleblower.